this is what these young people like on social media. They like something that goes viral, and this was the viral. This was the hit.
Okay, then do it. I'll go Joker with you there. Do it, and let's watch society rot and burn together. It'll be fun.
And that's what they want anyway.
As people get worse, and as people delve more and more into this culture of narcissism, we can watch society erode, and that can be that. That can just be it. Let's see. Let's see.
I mean, that's where we're heading. I mean, right now, if you say it again,
I said that's what they're doing right now. You think this is just sitting back and like, oh, because we got one person? No, we got a bunch of people that's rotting the next generation's minds.
Well, let's take a step back. Let's look at it from a distance. Almost to your point, Drew, of let's watch it burn. So, just as a critique, we got a bunch of very, very young people now trying to, and I'm talking about preteens, right? Trying to figure out who they are, what they are. Obviously, all the body changes and all the other stuff. And historically, they always look at the kids a little older and mirror that. And they also look at the young adults in movies and music, right? We talked about it maybe a decade ago of just the me generation and just focusing about, that generation just focusing me, myself, and I, my feelings, how I want things, that whole thing. So you got everyone, and including how we get music. Everything is just when you want it, how you want it. It's no longer you have to go to a concert, you have to go to the mall to pick up music, whether it's a CD, tape, or a record. There's no longer this like communal experiences. I mean, there are a little bit
instant gratification culture,
right?
Yeah.
So
you're hitting with that. I'm not going to get on the whole soapbox of where the generation is getting worse. We're worse for different reasons, but in some ways, I would say that newer generations of kids, there's hope.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a complete downer and say that no, it's just all downhill, black pillsville.
Because there are some things that are better, right? I mean,
in certain respects.
Because growing up, we weren't really. What are you feeling? Like, you know what I mean? Like, kind of like you.
Nobody cared, dude. We're that generation that we're told to suffer in silence. We're consistently. I know people that have tried that crap nowadays. We're as we're three brothers, right? We came up in the generation or era where people said, "Stop that crying, or I'll give you something to what."
Cry about.
When boys cried, it was stop that crying, or I'm gonna give you something to cry about. Okay, so it's like we're born in that ilk. So it's like we learned to suffer in silence.
Right.
But when it came to the whole topic of men should be more, expressive. They should be able to express more and be vulnerable. When we do that, the response then is, "You're weak."
Yeah.
You're a. I can't cuss, but you know the expression.
Right. But now you have the total swing back where everyone is overly emotional. They're emo, like for real.
Now it's like we're in like too much of that territory. It's the polar opposite. So it's like we've course corrected too far, right? It's like we've overcompensated. Now we have this whole crop of just thin-skinned, callous narcissists that just walk around obsessed with their phone and trying to go viral. Like the last two some odd generations are like this, and it's like, all right, the quality of humans kind of getting sucky. In this avenue, and this avenue.
Right.
But maybe people are a little more, like, considerate of other people's sensibilities culturally. Maybe. Throw that as a plus. Maybe people are a little less outwardly racist. Maybe.
Right.
Maybe, people are a little more tolerant. You like to think, but it fluctuates with the days for me.
So if this is the path, and hold that note of just, again, that looking at society from a distance. But then you have this tech drive, which is really a drive to not have to deal with people, not have to work with people, not have to hire people. So you have this individual, it's about me, my mission. And then you have all this, well, I don't really need you. I actually could create a whole fake world around on some like Ready Player One stuff.
It's the argument of like community versus individualism, and I see pros and cons to both. But like we are kind of in this era now of we're phasing out like the interpersonal element of humanity. We're gradually kind of like breaching from that. It's messing people up when it comes to how we get down like one-to-one in real life.
Yes.
People are really twack nowadays and weird. But like I understand why. It's good in some ways, but messed up in others. Because you're going to have AI that's going to start replacing like fundamental things that used to be human communication. And that's going to be just one less avenue that people have to like be, to like exist, to just express themselves as humans. That's kind of messed up and sad. But, Skynet will be able to sit up there and satellite all like, or Amazon can ship you a whole girlfriend or something. Because I watch Companion. Like they can ship you a whole. The setup could, to be fair, to jump ship for just 2 seconds, the setup in Companion could have worked if he hadn't tampered with her settings.
Exactly.
Put the intelligence at 50%, because that's just fair, right? I don't want her trying to like blow me up in the house with her scientific knowledge or whatever. But it's the idea that if you hadn't tampered with her settings, that setup could have been fine.
Right.
We could have we'd have that going on. It could work
forever. Until your last days.
Yeah, that'd be a fair enough end, I think. If people could get to a place to where, sure, there's like miles and miles between you and the next human being. It's mostly robots.
Right.
But if you treat your robots well and aren't an asshole to them, they'll be cool with you and take care of you in your older years when you're no longer able to take care of yourself. And it's fiction. It's fan fiction. But it could work. We could find a balance.
But you just don't try to set your robots up for murder.
Just don't mess with the settings. Yeah, don't set your robots up. Don't mistreat them. You got to keep that. What is it? Asimov's 3 rules. You got to keep those in the robots. But you yourself, as the human, got to keep personal responsibility. It's a robot, but treat it with respect.
So let's play a game real quick. If I'm going a place I shouldn't go, you can stop me. But if we take the same thing of the movie Companion, but add slavery to that, where instead of a robot that was a slave, where you could set them up, you control how much information they take, like the settings on the dial, instead of a dial, it's keeping them from getting educated, keeping them from.
We're in Weyland-Yutani territory now. This is what they do. That's the foggy area. If you're going to use them for like manual labor, a companion bot's one thing because it's not. There's a fine line between having a companion and a servant. If you're using your companion as a servant, you're getting a little dicey with it. That's not what it's intended for.
Right.
Mass producing whole automatons strictly for manual labor. That's.
But do you think it's somehow subliminally, even though they didn't write this, do you think it's basically Western guilt wrote that script? I know there's a lot of things out there that's kind of like Planet of the Apes, Western's guilt. There's a lot of movies where subliminally I feel that there's this ether of guilt which makes certain individuals write these films that they're tapping into. Again, I'm getting deep on this, but I think there's something to it.
It's a thing, but I don't think that was the case for Companion.
Okay.
I think we're a little closer to that with Weyland-Yutani and the Aliens franchise than Companion. Because they're actually kept as like a race of automatons that just are not even born. They're manufactured, right, and used to serve the purpose of the company. Because by this point, we're so far in the dystopia with the Aliens franchise that it's now corporations that run planets and solar systems and no longer governments.
Right.
So, we're ways off. We'll all be dead by that. I think the time that it gets to that far, but there's going to be an era where it's like we're the Amazon empire, y'all.
Right.
I think we'll get there.
The Facebook empire. Actually, I just saw something where there's laws where is it? Let me see if I can find it. Man. Basically, Facebook helped to write. some laws for some state, which basically allows billionaires to get away with a lot. I don't know. I just feel that there should be a separation between, politics and these individuals with tons of money.
It's been older than any of us, but yeah.
Lobbying, first of all, lobbying, I'm going to throw it out there. Hopefully it catches somebody in the future, sees this and gets inspired, or a group of people or society gets inspired. First of all, lobbying should be illegal, period. That cuts a lot of crap. And if you're a senator, or while lobbying still is legal, if you're a senator, congressperson, anything in politics, and you retire, it should be illegal for you to become a lobbyist. You should not be able to use all your connections against a society in which you allegedly used to serve and trying to help.
Because you're still kind of, you're being an imbalance. Your influence is still kind of making things disproportionate.
And your connections, right? You know who you can pay off and this and this and that. And
you might not be able to be in the seat yourself, but if you're a beneficiary of someone who is going in or taking on that title, you're still kind of in the seat.
Right.
Basically.
Okay. Yeah, that's a little. That definitely does sound unfair.
Yeah. Because really, it's the lobbying energy that allows, a very large, I'm not going to name companies, but there are companies that are paying both sides of the table. And allegedly both sides of the table are arguing and fighting, and then the person in the middle is paying, like, either way they're going to win,
They're going to win. Yeah, when you have like people that basically give weapons to both sides during a war.
Right.
And they fight both. Yeah, kind of the same tactic.
Same tactic. So, it's a cleanup after then, when and if there's another election. We have a lot of cleaning up to do. So something like what's going on won't happen again. And, and I got friends that are, and acquaintances, more acquaintances, that are hard this way and hard that way. I still think we have to live in reality. Like, just example, right? Tariffs. Do you know how they work? I think people don't understand how tariffs work.
I don't know how they work, but I do know that they're messing up my my imports for these guys because they're up by, I think, what was it, 25%? Which is just jacking up the price. These boys won't be cheap in and of themselves, but I'm using that as like more excuse to choose carefully though. But I'm aware of the tariffs. Sure.
Gotcha. So, there's a lot of little things that are just, regardless of, your political beliefs or your political things that you stand on, there's certain things that just everybody should be like, no, that's ridiculous. No, that's ridiculous. No, that's ridiculous. You don't disrespect another leader in the Oval Office. You don't look down at people.
Well, I always find that argument interesting. It depends on what side of that argument that you're on, because it's disrespectful to badmouth the president. But then there's whole networks that are dedicated to badmouthing that same president every day because it's not their political party.
Right.
So, again, the hypocrisy, people playing with what should be constituted as a professional, but also too, we're broadcasting the news and we need the drama.
And by the way, I pray for the president every day.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I just pray he would think differently and do different things. Because guess what? This is what we're stuck with. You know what I mean? Like, the election happened. It's over. I think it's kind of ridiculous people start going to, well, if this one became president. Like, stop it. Let that go. It didn't happen. You got to look forward. You got to live in the reality of now. This is what we got to deal with. And our responsibility is to make sure that individuals are serving us as a community. We the people. It's not a king and a court of a bunch of dukes. And, we got to think differently.
That sounds good. No, all I would say, whoever won,
right,
don't make it worse. Don't screw it up worse. I would have said this to either party. Whoever won, it's the same thing. Don't screw it up. That's it. That's literally all I got. That's all I got on the politics.
I think with level-headed people, that are not, I'm team A and I'm team B, that whole team in that mentality, which doesn't serve society at all. But looking beyond that, we just want our four walls. We want to be able to be productive people in societies, be able to eat food that's not killing us, wear clothes that's not killing us, breathe air that's not killing us. You know what I mean? Just live in peace, and when you look at it beyond just this country or state mentality, pretty much universally, of all the places I've been in on this planet, I've been to a lot of different countries, that's all people want. They just want to live their life, love who they want to love, and just be happy and safe and have shelter and food and do something productive called a job or work.
Yeah, this kind of dovetails. I'm going to round this off to something we were talking about briefly before the show.
Right.
We're talking about how in California recently, as of like last night, we had a guy who won over $500 million. Right? It was like over $515 million.
Right.
So if they took, I'm not sure on the math, if we took between 1 and 5% of the top 1%'s wealth, all of them across the board, right, globally,
right,
and then redistributed that to every single man, woman, and child in America, right, at least those that are old enough to have a bank account,
right,
okay, that much to where everyone, let's say hypothetically, had $1 million, $1 and $10 million. Somehow
Gotcha.
We made that, okay? Effectively, everybody could buy a home, right? Could set aside something for their kids. They'll be relatively okay for this thing called life and the immediate for financial stuff, right? That can't be a thing because of the have and have not mindset that people have. The 1% holds on to 90% of the wealth. If they gave away not even half of that, we'd all be good, but they'd no longer be that 1%.
Right.
They're still fine. They still probably have way more than all of us, but it's not the same.
Right.
To them, they've leveled down. There's too much of a vested interest in not leveling down to where they'll let X amount of the population suffer for it. So it's I don't know, it's very simple like solution you would think in theory, but the powers that be will never let that happen.
Yeah. What was it after during the time of during the Great Depression or right after the Great Depression, I think people that were very, very wealthy were taxed 30 to 50%, something ridiculous. But they were still fine.
It's a tipping point, and then when if it's not that, right, you're gonna have enough people to get pissed off and revolt to where it's like, all right, we have to redistribute something. It's like when people are getting evicted at, I have to look up the numbers. Evictions are at whatever percent and rising. Unemployment's at whatever percent and rising. Bills are still going to come through because nobody cares, right? After a certain point, the population's going to be like, yo, dude, there's nothing left.
Right.
There's nothing left. Y'all got to figure something out.
Right.
And they'll let them eat cake us. They'll be all right.
There's a song by Aerosmith called Eat the Rich.
Eat the rich, yeah. I mean, I'm not advocating anybody do anything extreme or wild.
For sure, 100%.
When it comes to like just history and how these things in societies go, from what I've read and from what I've studied, after a point, people revolt and get pissed off.
Right.
Yeah.
It happens.
You can only do this for so long.
Yeah, it can only carry for so long before societies have to do this reset or they crumble and die.
This is where the robots come in. This is where
They'll use it, dude. You don't think they won't? If Amazon gets a robot army and it gets to a point where you got the 1% trying to hide out, they're gonna send their armies on us.
Right.
They're totally gonna.
Right.
Speculative fiction, but it's close enough to reality.
Close enough to reality. It is happening in front of our eyes.
They're building it right in front of us. They got the footage. They push the robot on the ground. He hops back up. I'm like, oh, they're making security. They're hooking up the security bots.
Skynet,
yeah.
Who put us on the Skynet? Black woman.
I might have brought it up. Skynet, man, we're getting there.
yeah.
Oh man.
I think it was me at the red carpet premiere for Transformers.
That what?
That robotic dog.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was me.
That was you what?
No, that was me that recorded that, and someone in the background said, They're real. Skynet is coming. And I told him to shut up.
I mean, it's day by day, man. I'm more tripped out at the human side, the humanoid ones that can like parkour and like jump over walls. I'm like, dude, they're building ninjas right now, man. Holy smoke! We're not gonna be able to outrun them. We're not gonna be able to fight them. It's gonna be wild. Real Black Mirror type stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Shoot, going backflips, tactics beyond measured, being a ninja, a robotic ninja coming out. It's like, okay.
Analyzing fight tactics and stuff. We'll have them like watching the kung fu stuff and be able to just taijutsu the hell out of everybody. It's gonna be wild.
The thing is, this is all going to be in our lifetime. That's the part that's kind of interesting.
Maybe. I mean, it's taken shape now. We've been experiencing it now. I think our generation kind of got an interesting little view of seeing technology take off
because of the movies. The movies that we've seen this played out
in real time,
10 different ways.
Yeah.
Like, so we know the stories.
Films and fiction, but then it's like we saw it happen with the rise of the internet and the fact that there were, after a point, computers were nowhere and then they were everywhere.
Right.
And now they're like this sized and everyone has them as if they're their souls.
I was about to say there's more technology in this than the first launching to the moon.
Home PCs that many of us had, yeah.
So
it's wild to witness. I gotta say, it's like all things considered, it's been wild to witness.
Right.
I can see it now. Robots doing smoke screens. You're like, wait.
I'm telling you, man, it's gonna be wild. I really want to see what
you're gonna sit back and then next thing you know, dead.
Well, have you seen the conventions they have for the companion robots on Instagram?
No.
They're in that uncanny valley stage, but yeah, they're taking off. It's kind of wild to see.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, there was a guy years ago there's a show on HBO, and he was making just dolls that were supposed to be, feel real, look real, and all the other stuff. And a lot of, he said most of his clientele were very rich men. So it is what it is. Yeah. Can't make this stuff up. So now, and then he did a part 2 on HBO, and he just added a, you touch certain parts of the doll and it would make, say certain replies, almost like, Cabbage Patch kind of Barbie kind of thing. So you could imagine where they are now.
Like certain phrases and stuff. Yeah,
correct.
I'm sure there have been vast leaps in the field.
Right. So this is donkey years ago. So can you imagine?
This is old.
Right. So what they have now is like ridiculous, just ridiculous. Like having full conversations.
It's like basically they'll have the robot, right? They'll have the chassis, the body, and then you have whatever AI program inside the thing. So it'll actually be like on some companion type stuff.
Basically.
I'm done.
All right, well, Dayveonne, how about instead you could just put, instead of like a 5G down payment on a companion, you can go spend whatever amount on like a real life chick. And then,
no, I'm done.
And then still have a whack companion, but now you're just paying indefinitely.
I'm done. I'll sit single for the rest of my life.
Oh man.
You said indefinitely.
I'll sit
my goodness.
For my life.
Do we have whatever time we got left, or are we caught up on Daredevil? Because I'm messing with this guy right now.
We got like 7 minutes. Go.
A minute. Okay, so are we caught up?
Yes, definitely.
All right, so do you, Dayveonne? I don't know if that was a compliment.
Go ahead.
Okay, so episode 5, I think it was. 5 was kind of a nothing burger. It's the bank episode. It's kind of interesting to see Matt do Daredevil stuff without the suit, but just the same, it was kind of, besides the cameo, we got in the cameo season, I guess. Besides Kamala, Miss Marvel's dad, kind of like, all right, this was a thing, and then it ends. Mm-hmm.
I think it's one of those, because they know they want to do so many episodes. I think I'm going to call them burner episodes.
Filler.
Yeah, filler, because they just...
Filler.
They gotta... What we ordered? Oh, we need 10 episodes? All right. Well, we got these hot 6. All right, what are we going to do for the 4? All right, we'll put a cameo here. We'll do a backstory here.
For a fact, it wasn't a soft pitch for another Ms. Marvel show because I saw the first one. It was I'm all right, but it was like no, her dad was just there talking about her, so that couldn't have been a pitch or anything. It was just he's just there.
It might be just to see if fans will talk, because they're still talking about another acolyte, and I'm like, when are you going to let that go?
Let that go. That's dead. Let that be in the grave, please.
On that note, ladies and gentlemen, because I think she may be waiting, or is she still employed? Catherine Kennedy.
Oh, I don't know.
I think she's going to retire. Probably do a retirement package.
I heard she's going to retire or something like that. But at any rate, whatever. Episode 6, though, back on Daredevil was good. I think it definitely was like a mean tonal shift, and we got right back into the parts of the story that mattered, and we got into some probably one of the doper fight scenes of the series so far was what's his name, Muse. That fight scene was sick, but it parallels what Wilson was going through.
Yeah,
because again, he's rounding himself back down. Our boy's coming back. They put his blazer. He tried to put his jacket on him, and he busted through the jacket because he's getting big. I'm like, yeah, the big guy's coming back. You know, he's still in there. And then he goes and has probably one of the most gangster moments I have ever seen in a show. Walks up to Adam in the cage with an axe, throws Adam the axe, and basically is just like, I need to give you an equalizer because I'm like 3 times your size. And then it's go season. And that fight scene was brutal. It was everything that you could have wanted from a Kingpin comeback moment.
How many episodes are they supposed to do in this for all the seasons? Because I think they're supposed to go up to like 6, right?
Wait. I think this Daredevil has like, I think 8 to 10. I gotta look up how many.
8 to 10 episodes.
Yeah, 8 to 10 episodes.
But they're gonna because we already had, again, when it was a Netflix thing, season 1, season 2. This is season 3, correct?
No. Daredevil, the first one on Netflix went to season 3.
Okay.
This is a different show, but technically you could qualify it as a season 4.
Okay.
Defense, but it's considered a different series entirely.
Oh, really? Even though it's taking from.
It's continuing, from the others. So again, you can call it kind of like a softcore season 4.
Okay.
It's a different show, Daredevil Born Again, but it's season 1 of Daredevil Born Again, but it's season 4 of the Daredevil series.
Gotcha.
So,
gotcha.
It's been pretty good.
I like the tone. I like where they're going with it. I like the fact that Disney is doing something, I would say, more gritty. Hate to use the word gritty, but versus the other stuff on Disney, you know.
Came out. It was cool. The first one we forget. The first Daredevil series came out. It was cool to be gritty.
Right.
They did gritty well.
Right.
And then it became like kind of a cliche, but it's good gritty still.
It's good gritty.
He beat the brakes off that dude. I gotta go back and watch that fight scene. That was nuts.
So, any one line, anything? We got 1 minute left. Anything you want to leave the audience with?
No, I got nothing. Stay safe out there, folks.
Yes.
Stay strange, but not too strange.
Yeah.
Stop chasing clout out here.
Yeah. Stop chasing clout, definitely.
Chasing clout out here. Just be. It's enough to just be.
Yeah.
Some clout.
What do you got, Dayveonne?
I ain't got nothing.
Cool. Be good to yourself and one another. And we out watching GEEKCASTER.